He lost his home, his family, everything. But one hidden secret his wife left behind was about to rewrite his entire life. Before we start, join our YouTube family by subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to like this video and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, let's get into the story. The old man didn't scream when the door slammed shut behind him. He didn't beg. He didn't even turn around. He just stood there, on the cracked pavement, one hand gripping a worn-out suitcase, the other hanging, lifelessly by his side, as if even his body had finally given up asking for fairness from the world. Inside the house, laughter echoed. Not his laughter, not anymore. A woman's voice, sharp, unfamiliar, cut through the air. "Close the curtains. I don't want him standing there staring like that." The curtains moved. The last piece of his life disappeared behind fabric. And just like that, at 70 years old, he had nowhere left to go. His name was Kareem, 70 years old, a retired mechanic, a man who had spent 45 years fixing other people's problems, while slowly losing control of his own life. He wasn't always like this. Once his hands were strong, steady, skilled. People used to wait outside his small workshop for hours just to have him look at their cars. They trusted him, respected him. He had a wife once, Zainab. She used to sit near the shop in the afternoons, sipping tea, watching him work. Sometimes she'd laugh when he got grease on his face. "Old man already," she'd tease. "I'll outlive you," he'd reply, smiling. But he didn't. She did. And when she passed away, everything inside him quietly collapsed. After her death, the house became too silent, too empty, too loud in all the wrong ways. His son, Imran, moved back in. At first it felt like comfort. Then it slowly became something else. "Abba, you don't need to worry about bills anymore. I'll handle everything," Imran had said. Kareem believed him. He wanted to believe him. He signed papers he didn't fully understand, transferred ownership, let go of control. Because that's what fathers do, right? They trust, even when they shouldn't. Months passed, then years, and slowly things began to change. The tone of Imran's voice, the way he spoke, the way he looked at him, not as a father, but as a burden. "Abba, why do you keep the lights on? Electricity isn't free. Abba, you should stay in your room. Guests are coming. Abba, don't touch anything. You'll just make a mess." Each word chipped away at something invisible inside Kareem, until one day, there was nothing left to chip. The day he was thrown out, it didn't come with a warning. No argument, no build-up. Just an ending. Imran stood at the door, arms crossed. "There's no space for you here anymore." Kareem blinked. He thought he misheard. "What?" "I said, you need to leave." A pause, a long, heavy pause. "This is my house," Kareem whispered. Imran didn't hesitate. "No," he said coldly. "It's mine." Something in Kareem's chest tightened. Not anger, not even shock, just a quiet realization. He had already lost this fight, long before this moment. And now, here he was, standing outside, with a suitcase that barely held his life. Inside it, a few clothes, an old photograph, and a small wooden box that he hadn't opened in years. The street felt different that day, colder, even under the sunlight. Neighbors peeked through curtains. Some whispered. Some looked away. No one stepped forward, because people don't like getting involved, especially when the story is uncomfortable, especially when the truth is obvious. Kareem started walking, slowly. No destination, no plan, just movement, because standing still felt worse. Each step felt heavier than the last. Not because of the suitcase, but because of the weight inside his chest. Hours passed. The sun began to lower. Shadows stretched across the empty road. And finally, his legs gave up before his mind did. He sat down on a broken bench near an old park. The wood creaked beneath him, just like his bones. He exhaled slowly. For the first time that day, he allowed himself to feel it. The loneliness, the betrayal, the quiet, unbearable question. How did it all end like this? His hand trembled as he opened the suitcase, not to find something useful, but to remind himself that something still belonged to him. His fingers brushed against the photograph. He pulled it out. It was old, faded, but still clear enough. Him and Zainab, standing outside the workshop, smiling, alive, happy. He stared at it for a long time, then whispered, "I failed you." The wind picked up slightly, as if the world itself didn't want to hear that. Then, his hand touched the wooden box. Small, old, locked. He froze. For a moment, he didn't move, because he remembered. He remembered exactly what was inside, or at least, what he thought was inside. Zainab had given it to him, years ago. "Only open it when you truly have nothing left," she had said. At the time, he laughed. What could be worse than this life? She didn't laugh back. "You'll know," she said quietly. His fingers tightened around the box. His heart began to beat faster. Was this that moment? Had he finally reached the point she meant? He looked around. Empty park, fading light. A man with no home, no family, no future. Yes, this was it. With shaky hands, he reached for the small, rusted latch. It resisted at first, then slowly gave in. The sound it made was louder than it should have been, like something ancient, being awakened. He opened the lid, just slightly, just enough to peek inside, and what he saw made him stop breathing. Because inside that small wooden box was something he never expected to see again. Something that didn't belong to the past, but somehow had been waiting for this exact moment. And as his eyes widened in disbelief, he whispered one word: "Impossible!" Because whatever was inside that box was about to change everything. But the real truth behind it was far more dangerous than he could ever imagine. Kareem didn't realize he had stopped breathing until his chest began to hurt. His fingers tightened around the edge of the wooden box as if it might disappear, as if the moment itself might vanish if he blinked too long. Inside the box, not money, not jewelry, not anything he had expected. It was a folded piece of paper, thick, official, sealed, and beneath it, a small old key. Not just any key, a heavy brass key with a number engraved into it. 3 to 17? Kareem's eyebrows pulled together. His hands trembled as he carefully picked up the paper first. The seal had already been broken, which meant Zainab had opened it once, but never showed him. "Why?" he whispered. Slowly, carefully, he unfolded it. The paper crackled with age, and then his eyes began to scan the words. At first, they didn't make sense. Then, his entire body went still. To Kareem Ahmed, if you are reading this, it means you have reached the moment I feared most, and prepared for anyway. His throat tightened instantly. Zainab's handwriting. He would recognize it anywhere. Every curve, every line, every quiet piece of her, still alive in ink. You will be confused. You will be hurt. And you will feel like everything has been taken from you. A weak, broken smile appeared on his face. "She knew," he whispered. "But listen to me carefully. You have not lost everything." His fingers gripped the letter harder now. His heart beginning to beat faster. Years ago, before my illness became serious, I made a decision. I saw changes in people, in intentions, in things we didn't want to admit. Kareem swallowed. His mind immediately flashed to Imran, to the slow shift, the coldness, the distance. I did something you might have been angry about back then. His breath caught. I secured something for you, something safe, something no one else knows about. The wind around him seemed to pause. Even the world felt like it was listening now. The key inside this box belongs to a place that holds more than just value. It holds truth. Kareem looked down at the key in his palm. 3 to 17? It suddenly felt heavier, important, dangerous. When the time comes, and you will know when it does. You must go there. His heart was pounding now, louder, faster, like it was trying to warn him or push him forward. But be careful, Kareem. That line, that one line, made something cold crawl up his spine. Because not everything hidden is meant to be found easily. He stopped reading. His eyes froze on that sentence. A long silence followed, the kind of silence that presses into your ears until it becomes unbearable. Zainab, he whispered, his voice barely holding together. What did you do? His hand shook as he read the final lines. Trust no one too quickly. And whatever you do not tell Imran. That name, seeing it written like that, it didn't feel like a warning. It felt like a confirmation, like she had seen everything long before he did. Go to locker 317. You will find what they never wanted you to have. The letter slipped slightly in his grip, his vision blurred, not from confusion, from something deeper, something heavier. Hope. For the first time in years, something inside him lit up, small, fragile, but real. Kareem slowly looked down at the key again. 3 to 17? A locker. A place. Something hidden. Something protected. Something meant only for him. But where? His mind raced. Locker. Bank? Train station? Old storage facility? And suddenly, a memory surfaced. Sharp. Clear. Undeniable. Years ago, Zainab had insisted they visit a bank in the city. Not their usual branch, a different one. Farther away. He had asked why. She had simply smiled and said, just something important. At the time, he didn't question it, because he trusted her, always. Now, that moment returned with full force. The bank? He whispered. His body reacted before his mind could catch up. He folded the letter carefully, placing it back into the box. Then he grabbed the key, holding it tightly, like it was the last thread connecting him to something bigger than this broken day. He stood up, slowly. His knees protested. His back ached. But something had changed. Just hours ago, he was a man with nothing. No home, no purpose, no direction. Now, he had a destination. The sun had almost set completely now. The sky painted in orange and fading blue. But Kareem didn't sit back down. He didn't hesitate. He picked up his suitcase, closed the box, and began walking. Each step felt different now, still heavy, still slow, but no longer empty. There was something waiting for him, something Zainab had protected, something Imran was never supposed to know. And suddenly, the question wasn't what he had lost. It was what had been hidden from him all along. The city felt louder as he entered it. Cars passing, people rushing, lights flickering on, life moving forward, as if nothing had happened. But for Kareem, everything had changed. After what felt like hours, he finally stood in front of it. The bank, tall, modern, unfamiliar, yet strangely connected to his past. He stared at the entrance, his reflection faintly visible in the glass. An old man, with tired eyes, holding a key that might change everything. He stepped inside. Cool air hit his face. Bright lights, clean floors, people in suits. Everything felt out of place, like he didn't belong here anymore. A young receptionist looked up. Her expression shifted slightly when she saw him. Not rude, but curious. Careful. Can I help you? She asked. Kareem hesitated for just a second. Then he lifted the key, his voice low, uncertain, but steady. I need access to a locker. Her eyes dropped to the key, then widened. Just slightly, almost unnoticeable. But Kareem saw it. Locker number? She asked. He swallowed, tightened his grip, and said, 317. The silence that followed was not normal. The receptionist's expression changed. Not confusion, not politeness, something else, something hidden. She stood up slowly, too slowly. Please wait here, she said. And then she walked away, not toward the lockers, but toward a back office. Kareem's heartbeat quickened again. That same cold feeling, creeping back. Something wasn't right. Minutes passed. Too many. Then, two men in dark suits stepped out from the back. Their eyes immediately locked onto him. Not welcoming. Not friendly. Assessing. Kareem's grip on the key tightened. His instincts, old, quiet, buried instincts, began to whisper something he hadn't felt in years. Danger. One of the men approached. Calm. Controlled. Too controlled. Sir, he said, his voice smooth but heavy. Where did you get that key? Kareem didn't answer immediately, because something inside him finally woke up. And for the first time since he was thrown out of his home, he didn't feel weak. He felt alert. Because whatever was inside locker 317 wasn't just important. It was powerful enough to make the wrong people nervous. And as the man stepped closer, lowering his voice, Kareem realized something that made his blood run cold. This was never going to be simple. Because whatever Zainab had hidden for him, someone else had been waiting for it too. And they were already here, watching him. The man in the suit didn't blink. Sir, he repeated, but far more dangerous this time. I asked you a question. Kareem looked at him. Really looked at him. Not like an old man being confronted, but like someone who had spent a lifetime reading people without even realizing it. The way the man stood, too straight. The way his eyes didn't move, too focused. The way the second man stayed slightly behind, watching everything. This wasn't normal bank protocol. This was something else. Something Zainab had warned him about. Trust no one too quickly. Kareem inhaled slowly, then exhaled. I got it, he said quietly, from my wife. A pause. The man's expression didn't change, but something behind his eyes did. Your wife, he repeated. She passed away, Kareem added. Another pause. Longer this time. The second man shifted slightly. Subtle, but tense. Sir, the first man said, now lowering his voice further, I'm going to need you to come with us. Kareem didn't move. Not this time. Not like before. Not like when Imran told him to leave. Not like when life pushed him around and he simply accepted it. Something had changed. Something deep. No, Kareem said. The word surprised even him. It hung in the air, sharp and unexpected. The man blinked. Just once. Excuse me? I said no. Kareem's voice was still calm, still quiet. But there was something else in it now. Something that hadn't been there in years. Strength. I came here for locker 317, he continued. That's all I want. The two men exchanged a glance. Fast, silent, but full of meaning. And that's when Kareem understood. They weren't just guarding something. They were hiding something. Sir, the second man finally spoke, stepping forward. This isn't a request. Kareem looked down at the key in his hand, then back at them. And this, he said slowly, lifting it slightly, isn't yours. Silence, heavy, dangerous. The receptionist pretended not to look. The people in the bank kept moving, but the air in that small space had completely changed. Last chance, the first man said. Kareem's grip tightened. His heart pounded, but not from fear anymore. From clarity. All his life, he had avoided conflict, avoided trouble, chosen peace, even when it cost him everything. But now, he had nothing left to lose. And something to protect. My wife left this for me, he said. Whatever is inside that locker belongs to me. The man's jaw tightened. Then suddenly, sir, A new voice cut through the tension. This, all heads turned. This, an older woman stepped out from the back hallway. Sharp eyes, confident posture, authority in every step. This, let him through, she said firmly. This, the two men stiffened. Ma'am, we were instructed. I know what you were instructed, she interrupted. And I'm giving you a new instruction. This, silence. This, the woman walked closer. Her eyes landed on Kareem, studied him, then softened, just slightly. This, locker 317, she said quietly. It's been waiting a long time. This, Kareem's breath caught. This, ma'am, we can't. The second man tried again. This, you can, she said, sharper now. Or you can explain to the board why you interfered with a legally secured private asset. This, that did it. This, the men stepped back, reluctantly, but they stepped back. This, the woman turned to Kareem. Follow me. This, for a moment, he didn't move, not because he was afraid, but because something inside him didn't quite believe this was real. This, then slowly, he followed. This, they walked down a quiet hallway, far from the noise, far from the eyes. This, each step echoed softly. This, Kareem glanced behind once. The two men were still there, watching. This, of course they were. This, who are they? Kareem asked quietly. This, the woman didn't look back. People who don't like surprises. This, and this locker? This, she paused for just a fraction of a second, then continued walking. This, let's just say, your wife was smarter than most. This, they reached a heavy metal door, secure, cold, unforgiving. This, she pulled out a key card, swiped it. The door unlocked with a sharp click. This, inside, rows and rows of lockers, metal, identical, silent. This, but Kareem didn't need to search. This, because there it was. This, 3 to 17. This, right in the center, waiting. This, his heart began to race again. But this time, there was no fear. This, only truth. This, the woman stepped aside. This is as far as I go. This, Kareem nodded. This, his hands trembled as he stepped forward, each step slower than the last. This, he reached the locker, stared at it. For a long moment, this 70 years of life led to this. This, he inserted the key. It fit perfectly. This, of course it did. This, he turned it. This, a click. This, the sound echoed louder than it should have. This, he hesitated, just for a second. This, then slowly, he opened it. This, inside, a thick envelope, a file, and something else. This, he pulled them out carefully, his hands shaking again. This, the envelope had his name on it. This, he opened it first. This, inside, documents, official, stamped, signed. This, his eyes scanned the page, then froze. This, his breath stopped. This isn't possible. This, the woman stepped closer now, curious. This, Kareem looked up at her, his voice barely holding together. This, she bought land. This, he flipped the page. More documents. This, not just land. This, another page. This, a business. This, another. This, shares. This, and then the final document. This, Kareem's hands went completely still. This, because what he was looking at was something no one could have imagined. This, Zainab hadn't just saved something for him. She had built something. This, quietly, carefully, over years. This, in his name. This, protected, hidden. This, untouched. This, Kareem swallowed hard, his eyes filling. This, she left me. Everything. This, the woman nodded slowly. This, more than everything, she said. This, Kareem looked back down. This, because at the very bottom of the file was one final note. This, short, simple. This, in Zainab's handwriting. This, now you can choose who deserves your kindness. This, his vision blurred. This, all those years, all that pain, all that silence. This, she had seen it, planned for it, protected him from it. This, even after she was gone. This, Kareem closed the file slowly. Then something inside him shifted completely. Not sadness, not anger, purpose. Because for the first time in years, he wasn't powerless. He wasn't forgotten. He wasn't alone. He had a second chance. And this time, he would choose differently. He turned toward the exit, the two men still watching. But now, they weren't looking at a helpless old man. They were looking at something else. Something they hadn't expected. And as Kareem walked past them, calm and steady, he realized something that made his chest feel lighter than it had in years. He had lost everything. Only to discover he had been given far more than he ever imagined. And this time, he would decide what to do with it.